the Let Out Show.
Hi everyone, welcome. This is the Let Out Show. This is a platform, as we always say, a platform where we bring different people with different stories to just let you know that even your own story can take a turnaround, and to also remind you that you can do all things, absolutely all things, through Christ, who is your strength and my strength too. I believe you enjoyed a beautiful love edition. Oh my goodness, it's been such an amazing tour. And to the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing, thank you for the likes, thank you for the views. I deeply appreciate and welcome. The Let Out Show is your home. Feel at home. We love you and we appreciate you. We had a beautiful love edition tour that ended last Saturday, and now I am introducing a new segment in the Let Out Show, dubbed Know Your Host. I know most of you, they've been seeing me, most of you, they do not know so much about me. So we'll be having a segment called Know Your Host after every edition. Like there we had a love edition, now we are having this one to transit us to the next edition, and I believe you're going to enjoy. So for them that started with me way back in 2021, that was in November, December, around there, when the Let Out Show was being born. If you can remember clearly, we spoke about chapatis, and we said that we'll be making chapos as we interact with our guests. But due to some challenges, logistic challenges here and there, we've not been able to do that. But since I had made a promise, and some of you have been asking, hey Rose, where are the chapos? So I have decided to introduce the chapatis here. As I tell you more about me, we also explore different ways of making chapatis. And so everyone, welcome to Know Your Host in the Let Out Show. So today we are going to make chapatis as I tell you something small about myself. And right here I have my ingredients ready. I've got my chapati flour, I have my water. It is very, very, very hot. There are people who prefer to use milk, others they love doing butternuts, but for a start, we are going to start with just plain water. And then I've got some salt here, I've got some sugar to sweeten, and an egg to make it better. So one by one, we are going to knead the dough as I tell you my story. So I start with the salt first. So it depends with how you love your chapatis made. For me, I like it when they are slightly salty and somehow sweet. So that's why we're going to introduce some little sugar still here. Here, yes, we got some sugar there. Now, as you can see, we are done with our dough. It's very nice. And the secret I have discovered about making soft chapatis: ensure that your dough is really soft, really soft. And also, very hot water does the great magic. So now we allow the dough to rest for about 1 hour. So after an hour, I'll be back and I'll let you know who your host is. I'll get to introduce myself in a much deeper way. See you in an hour's time. So guys, 1 hour later. So the dough is ready. It is very well relaxed, and so we are set. We are set to making some chapatis. So as I had previously said, know your host. So most of you just see Rose Wambui, host. And by the way, as I make my chapos, I love adding the cooking fat, or rather the cooking oil inside, because that's the secret to have some teary chapatis. You see, the chapos, they keep saying that zinararuka. Basically, that's the secret. It's nothing else. And to the secret to soft chapos, as I told you, it's very hot water and a soft dough. So when you're straightening, or rather flattening your dough so as to add the mafuta, you don't have to mind the shape. So this is what I'm using, and then I just run it through, just to ensure that when you're folding the chapos, there is enough fat or oil, depending on what you love using. I love using the fat. There are people who love using the liquid. So this is what I love using. So back to know your host. Who is Rose Wambui? So Rose Wambui is a beautiful girl who was born on the foot of the mountain. That's Mount Kenya. Yeah, I'm a Mount Kenya girl. I was born in Nyeri. My father is late now. He rested in 2013. My father is called Wilson Deuri Wangombe, and he's from Nyeri. And my mom is a beautiful, gorgeous woman who God has blessed me with, and her name is Jacinta Warenga. So I'm in my you know, we ladies, we have an issue with our age. So I'm in my early 30s. I'm not married. Yes, hallelujah, praise God to the single men. I'm not married. Yeah, so I keep cutting the dough. I love it in small pieces. I don't like very fat or very thin, just medium. So that's why I'm getting this size. So I'm not married. I don't have any kids yet. But and I'm not in a hurry, and I'm not taking it slow, so I'm just being myself. So I'm in my early 30s, and I am born again. I'm a born again Christian. I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2007. 2007 is when I made a personal decision to stay saved, to stay born again. And this was not coerced by anyone. This was my own personal decision that I made. And up to date, I have kept it. For them who follow me on Facebook, I'm a proud Christian. I always talk about Jesus Christ because He's the Savior of my life. That does not mean that my life is perfect. That does not mean that I am Miss Perfect. But it means that every single day I live by His grace. It's purely by His grace. Because let me tell you one thing, guys. For them that like you brand Christians like, you know, they are all perfect, deputy Jesus. Deputy Jesus. Actually, if you're to check through, you will see that we are far away from being deputy Jesus. We live by grace. And I have been living by grace all those years. I am employed. Yeah, I work in one of the private hospitals around. Yes, and though I'm not a medic, I'm in the other fields of the hospital, away from the clinicals. Yeah, so what else haven't you known? So I was born in Thika. That's where the hospital was. But I have grown up in Nyeri. Nyeri, a village called it's called Kariaine. It's in Teto, for them that know Teto. And then I went to Kireti Primary School. Kireti Primary School is in Nyeri, in that Kariaine village. And by the way, as I've said I'm Rose Wambui, I'm a Kikuyu. And in Kireti, when I was in class 1, from nursery to class 3, we used to learn Kikuyu as a language, as a subject rather. So I'm very good in Kikuyu, both written and spoken. I'm very, very good in Kikuyu because I did it as a subject. So we stayed in Nyeri for some time. for some several years. I think we left Nyeri when I was 7 years old. So, and then we came to Juja. And then, in Nyeri, people in Nyeri, there's an accent that they have. So I have that accent of Nyeri, and also it's mixed up with Kiambu accent. So at times my Kikuyu can be a little bit weird, funny, because Nashinda, is this Kikuyu from Nyeri, is it from Kiambu? But I am in between there because I was still at the prime age of growing up. So my dad, unfortunately, he was a very, very violent man. I have witnessed domestic violence. I have seen my mom being beaten, being beaten to a point of being killed. There is a time my dad had a two-edged sword, and he took it. He came home very drunk, and he took it, and he was ready to kill my mother. And it was just crazy. It was crazy because it affected us so badly. It really affected us. It gave me a certain phobia of, sorry to say, of daddies, men. But the grace of God is very much sufficient because over the years I've grown over it. But I would say from that violence, and then we were not financially okay because my mom, her work was to pick tea and take it to the factory. And then my dad had a small job in Juja. He was looking after someone else's chickens, and so that was the income. So I would say that financially we were not very, very okay. And also there was a lot, and then my relatives, my cousins from that side, they were well off, and so it made us feel like we were not good enough. So I want to say that I grew up with very, 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 very low self-esteem. I grew up with very low self-esteem, but over the years as I grew up, I came discovering who I am. I got like, what do you call this? It's self-realization, self-actualization, and I came to understand myself better. Yeah, so over the years, I have learned to boost my esteem. Right now, I'm a very confident person, and I'm a highly esteemed person. My esteem is up there. No one can pull it down. So after that violence that we saw with my dad, so mom could not take it anymore, and she saw that if I continue like this, I will be killed, because there's a time he dislocated my mom's. You see there's that rib cage. This thing, the ribs, that cage that protects the sensitive organs, lungs, heart, and everything. So that cage, my mom fractured, because there's a time my dad was he was so drunk, and so he came home and held my mom's head. Okay, my mom was standing behind him, so he grabbed her head by her neck, and then so now her chest was on her shoulder, or was on his shoulder, and then because he was a strong man and he was drunk, he just squeezed my mom's chest on his shoulder. Mom's it was the bone right here. Well, I'm not a medic, I don't know that name. It fractured a little bit, and she also got a heavy blow on her cheek. There was something about her jaw, either some sort of dislocation or something. There were a lot of issues, because now mom realized that if I continue in this family, or rather in this marriage, it's going to kill me. So that's when now mom moved from Juja, from Nyeri, and we went now to Juja. And then Juja, we stayed for a few days at my auntie's place, and then we moved to Gatondo, where her mother lives. Then it was just movements. No, we were nomad people. We used to call them nomad people. Yeah, so we moved to Gatondo, whereby we stayed there with my grandma, and my mom used to go through the market, sell skuma wiki, and she was able to pay for our school fees and also get our daily bread. So yeah, things we go through. Yeah, so that was what I went through. And then we grew up, and then so mom was able to save some money, and so she decided to take her business now from Gatondo to Juja. So we moved to Juja. Mom got a very small house in Juja. I'll actually look for that photo if I can find it, because there's a time we went to Juja and we found those houses are still there. If I find that photo, I'm going to pin it here. So we went to Juja, and we moved to a school called Kalimoni Primary School. and we studied there. Not because of the way, from Nyeri was inside a village, and then to Gatondo, a village. We were all speaking Kikuyu. So when we went to Kalimoni even had borders. And borders are from all over Nairobi, they're from Mombasa, everywhere. So it was a school with watoto wamechanuka. So I went there with my Kikuyu. And then I was told, Veronica, by the way, my Q, I used to be called Veronica. My name used to be Veronica Wambui Deuri. But when I was doing KCPE, I decided to change my name from Veronica to Rose. So guys were like, Veronica, we are going to give you a monto. You are speaking in your mother tongue. Hey. So it used to be such a big challenge because I could not utter a single word in Swahili. But slowly by slowly, kids learn very fast. So slowly by slowly, I got to understand Kiswahili, and I got to understand Kizungu, English. I started teaching myself, practicing, speaking Swahili, speaking English, and slowly by slowly I got used to that, and it became part of me. And that's why I'm speaking Swahili, that's why I'm speaking English so fluently. Then from there, we after class 8 we went, and by the way, I have a twin sister. My twin sister is called Anjeri. And we are not only two in our family, we are 4. So there are 2 guys and now us 2 girls. The guys are not twins. So our firstborn is called Paul Carano Deuri, and our secondborn is called Amos Angombe Deuri. And now me and my sister are the twins, now Anjeri Deuri and Rose Wambui Deuri. My mom had a blessing of twins because before our firstborn, she had twins. Yeah, she had twins. Yeah, but unfortunately they died at 4 months. Because of the cold in Nyeri. For those that know Nyeri it's such a cold place. It's a place of tea leaves. So they succumbed to pneumonia. Unfortunately, at 4 months, it was not easy for my mom, but she got over it. And then later, now she got my bro, who is the firstborn, who is not the acting firstborn, and now the rest of us. So after class 8, we went to a school called Muthiga Girls High School. My sister and I tulishinanga kufuatana hivi. Even our scores in KCPE, she had left me with one mark. I ain't mentioning the marks, but they weren't bad. So we went to a school called Muthiga Girls High School. It's a provincial school way in Gatondo. We schooled there for 4 years, and then we cleared Form 4. Just the same way, she left me with very few points. Tulikuwa tumefuatana tu, and then we went to campus, and now thank God we got jobs. She's also working somewhere in Westlands. Yes, and I'm also working. So that is a brief introduction about myself. Now, coming to tell you how the Lettered Show was born. So let's finish making this dough, and now as we cook, I'll tell you how the Lettered Show was born. Don't touch the bag. Now this is called kahura rogeo. It is used for wiping the pan that time when it's dirty or has a lot of bunga on it. You see? So well, my pan is not so dirty, but it's called a kahura rogeo. So we are going to keep it here because we'll need it to use 2 hura rogeos. So now let's turn on our gas and we are ready to cook. As we continue with our beautiful story. So you need to ensure that your pan gets very hot. Very hot. You start cooking with a pan that is not so hot, you'll be disappointed along the way. And by the way, I have my hot dish. Hot dish is ready. I've put some serviettes in to absorb any moisture because at times there are people who have a tendency of putting their chapatis directly into the hot dish. And because of the chapati is hot, so there is that steam, and it makes the chapati a little bit moist. Because of that moist, it becomes nyafi-nyafish, what do we call it? There is a word. So I'll put that there so that once my chapos are ready, I'll just be putting them there. So as we wait for the pan to heat up, we start rolling this. So, back to our story, the birth and the discovery and the everything of the Let Out show. Back in 2020, I had a very severe heartbreak. So, I was trying to look for things to do, things to distract me. And remember, 2020 was the corona year. So, I was looking for things to keep me busy. Yeah, I'm waiting for the pan to get hot as we talk. So, it was the year of corona, so I was trying to look for things to distract me because we were working from 8 to 4 because we had to go back home at we had to close offices by 4 so that by 5 you're home because the curfew was, I think it was running from 7 p.m. Yeah, around 7 p.m. And so I was looking for something that would distract me. So I tried many things. We started cooking with a group we used to call ourselves Quarantine. So we were trying to cook. I was trying to do a lot of things just to distract myself. And then I thought, where would I not start a YouTube channel? So I started a group that was calling itself Concealed. So I even went for a photo shoot. I looked for a co-host. But because it was wrong, I wasn't doing it because I want to do it, it's because I was trying to run away from my problems. So I got the idea of a YouTube channel, and Concealed didn't actually go anywhere. I only went for a photo shoot, I didn't even open the channel, and that was it. So then I ignored that thing. I got over whatever I was going through, I got over it. And now back in 2021, in November, I got a very sijasahau tunapika chapo. So at this point, I'm always careful to ensure that I make round chapos, you see? So they are ready for cooking. My pan, I believe it's hot enough. So what I usually do, I dry the bottom part of it. So as I was telling you, back in the year 2021 in December, I felt in November, I felt a very strong conviction to start a show. So I was not sure of the name to give it, and I didn't know what exactly to do. So I remember this particular day, I was coming from work and I saw a person cooking chapati on the roadside. And I said, wait, I'm good in making chapos. Why can't I do something that has chapatis in it? I knew that I wanted to do a talk show, but I didn't know what exactly to talk about, and I did not know who exactly to bring, what vision to have, and how to call the show. So I got an idea when I saw that person making chapos. Nikasema, hey, by the way, I need to have a show where I'll be cooking, and that's why when I introduced the show, I said that we'll be letting out our life stories over some chapatis. So now it's time for me to add mafuta. My friends. And you're most welcome anytime. So I decided to have a show where I'll have to be cooking. And I got the idea. So now I was asking God, what do I call the name of that show? What's the name of the show? And God guided me and He gave me something like Let It Out. It was like Let's Let Out. It started with Let's Let Out over some chapatis. Let us speak out. It was along that line, but it was not well defined yet. So I struggled along the way trying to think, and of course God was together with me because I was telling Him, if at all this show is not for you, I'm not going to do it, because when I do things that I have directed myself, it won't work. So all of a sudden I got the name The Let Out Show, and that's how we got The Let Out Show. So mentioned November 2021. So I started it up, but I had challenges because I didn't have a studio, I didn't have the cameras, I did not have the equipment, the logistics were not in place. So I started, my show without really understanding what I should do exactly. But I started with family members. I started with my mom. There is a story for my mom. If you haven't watched, please make sure you watch. It's called it's called Painful Life, being in a toxic marriage and losing twins at the same time. So kindly make sure you watch. Because it was family, I was comfortable to do it from the house. Actually, I cooked from this kitchen because I started those shows by cooking. I was cooking first, and then I interviewed a guest. So, and I was still in this same kitchen of mine. So the first guest was okay because it was my mom, and the second guest was okay because it was my bro. But now from there, and my house is quite far, ikombali kidogo. So my family was okay. I was personally not very comfortable to start bringing people all over. Number one, it's struggle kwa mahali interior. Secondly, you know, it's your house, you know, privacy and also everything. I found that those logistics were not working for me, so it hit the rock bottom. After the two guests, I paused up to now late last year, 2022. That's when I revived after God blessed me with a studio. Glory to God. I thank God. God blessed me with my youth pastor. My pastor saw my efforts, and he said that he would really assist me. And that's how I was able to get a studio and start shooting there. That's why the logistics of making chapatis could not work. And your mother Kasema, we introduced the segment of Know Your Hosts over some chapatis. Yes, okay. So that was the bad. That was the bad of the Layout Show. So far, so good. I love the growth. I love the viewership. I love the subscriptions. My pan is really dancing, but don't worry. I love the subscriptions. I'm loving the comments. Okay, thanks God. My family, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you so much because of the support so far. And I know that we are going very, very, very far. That was the story. That was a very, very simple introduction about me. I believe now you have an idea of who your host is. Yeah, that's who Rose is. That's who Wambui is. And to those who called me Bobo, that is who Bobo is. And now I am done with my chapos. This is the end result. I love my chapos. So you see, oh my God. Even those in Ararukanga, isn't it chapati za mraruko? They're very hot, by the way. Hizi ndo chapati zangu za mraruko. I love my chapatis when they tear up like this. Like this. So those are my chapos. This is how they iva, like this. Na watu wanasemanga utamu wa chapati ni kuraruka. Na ndio hiyo sasa. I love making chapos because I love my chapatis and they are yummy. You're welcome anytime. Let's eat chapatis. Let's get to know our host. That has been Know Your Host, and I have been your host, Rose Wambui. Until next time, please keep it the Layout Show. Always remember to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so that every time you're going to be notified anytime I post a new video. I look forward to us having another great and awesome time. And next video, I'll be talking to you about my journey of faith. Till next time, please take care. This is the Layout Show.
This is the Layout Show.